Welcome to the Eat This Book podcast. I'm Michael Whitworth. Each day we take a small piece of scripture and we sit with it. Not a quick snack that disappears before lunch, not a chore you check off of a list, but rather a meal meant to be savored. So pull up a chair. Let's eat. Abram came up from Egypt. He's leaving the land of his failure, the place where he lied about Sarai, let her be taken into Pharaoh's house, and got expelled in disgrace. But he's not leaving empty-handed. He's rich. The text is specific. Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. And Lot, who went with him, also had flocks and herds and tents. This is blessing. This is what God promised, to bless Abram, to make him great. The wealth is evidence that God keeps his word. The blessing is about to become a problem. And the land could not support them dwelling together, for their possessions were so great that they could not dwell together. There's too much. Both Abram and Lot have so many animals, so much stuff, so large an entourage that the land itself can't hold them both. There isn't enough pasture. There isn't enough water. The blessing has outgrown the space. This is a problem most people wish they had, but it's still a problem. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. Here we have strife, conflict, tension. The servants are fighting. Abram's guys versus Lot's guys. Probably arguments over watering holes, grazing rights, and who got there first. The kind of petty conflicts that erupt when resources feel scarce, even when the scarcity is caused by abundance. Prosperity didn't bring peace, it brought strife. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Blessing can divide. When there wasn't much, Abram and Lot traveled together easily. When both were struggling, they needed each other. But now that both are wealthy, they are in competition. The same blessing that should have united them is pushing them apart. Money does this. Success does this. When there's more to protect, there's more to fight over. When the stakes get higher, relationships get harder. The narrator adds a detail that seems out of place. At that time, the Canaanites and the Perizzites were dwelling in the land. Why mention this? Because the family conflict is happening in front of outsiders. Abram's herdsmen and Lot's herdsmen are fighting while the pagans watch. The chosen family, the ones through whom all nations will be blessed, can't get along with each other. The testimony is compromised. The witness is muddied. Internal strife always has an audience. Abram sees what's happening and acts. Let there be no strife between you and me and between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, for we are kinsmen. He names the problem. He names the relationship. He refuses to let possessions matter more than people. We are kinsmen. We are family. Whatever we own isn't worth losing each other over. And then Abram does something remarkable. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself from me. If you take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you take the right hand, then I will go to the left. He gives Lot first choice. Abram is the elder. Abram is the one with the promise. Abram has every right to claim priority. But he surrenders his rights for the sake of peace. Take whatever you want. I'll take what's left. This is what prosperity puts to the test. When you have something worth having, can you hold it loosely? When you have the power to claim the best, can you defer? When your blessing puts you in competition with someone you love, what do you choose? The blessing or the relationship? Abram chose relationship. He chose peace. He chose to let go. Lot's response reveals his heart. And Lot lifted up his eyes and saw that the Jordan Valley was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. He looks, he evaluates, he calculates. The Jordan Valley looks like Eden. It looks like Egypt, that fertile land they just left, the place of abundance and compromise. Lot sees the best real estate and wants it. So Lot chose for himself all the Jordan Valley. For himself. Not for both of them, not with consideration for his uncle, for himself. Lot takes the offer at face value and grabs the prime land. This isn't necessarily wrong. Abram offered. But watch how the narrator describes it. Lot chose for himself. The selfishness is noted. And Lot journeyed east. In Genesis, east is the direction of exile. Adam and Eve were driven east of Eden. Cain wandered east of Eden. The Babel builders migrated east. Going east in Genesis means moving away from God's presence. Here, Lot journeys east, toward the valley, toward the wealth, away from Abram, away from the altar. And so they separated from each other. The prosperity that blessed them both now has divided them. The uncle and nephew who traveled together from Haran, who survived Egypt together, who should have been partners in the promise, they're going separate ways. Blessing can become a burden. Abundance here led to absence. And then the narrator drops the bomb. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled among the cities of the valley and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Not into Sodom, not yet, but toward it, facing it, oriented in its direction. The trajectory is set. The drift has begun. Now the men of Sodom were wicked great sinners against the Lord. The narrator tells us what Lot should have known, what Lot probably did know. The men of Sodom were wicked, great sinners against the Lord. Lot saw the well-watered valley. He didn't see or didn't care about the character of its inhabitants. He evaluated the real estate without evaluating the neighbors. Prosperity blinded him. The garden-like land was inhabited by serpent-like people. Here's what Genesis chapter 13 teaches us about prosperity. First, blessing can cause conflict. The thing you prayed for, the success, the growth, the abundance, might create problems you didn't anticipate. More money means more to argue about. More success means more competition. The blessing isn't the problem, it's what the blessing reveals about our hearts. Second, prosperity tests character. When Abram had the power to take the best, he gave it away. When Lot had the chance to defer, he grabbed. Prosperity doesn't create character, it exposes it. What you do when you have options shows who you really are. Third, what looks like Eden might lead to Sodom. Lot saw a garden. He ended up in a cesspool. The well-watered valley was watered with wickedness. Appearances deceive. The best-looking opportunity might have the worst hidden costs. Don't just evaluate the land. Evaluate who lives there. Don't just calculate the upside. Consider the environment. Fourth, small decisions set trajectories. Lot didn't wake up one day and decide to live in Sodom. He pitched his tent toward it. He oriented himself in its direction. Then he moved closer. Then he moved in. And then he sat in its gate. And then fire fell. The journey to disaster starts with a tent flap facing the wrong direction. Abram and Lot both got rich. The same blessing came to both. One held it loosely and let it go. One grasped it tightly and drifted toward destruction. Same prosperity, different responses, opposite outcomes. So here's what this passage would have us savor today. If you've been blessed, if prosperity has come, if success has arrived, if there's more in your hands than there used to be, this passage says, be careful. The blessing isn't neutral. It will test you. It will reveal you. It will either make you generous or make you grasping. If your blessing is causing conflict, if the thing you prayed for is now creating strife with people you love, this passage says someone has to choose peace over position. Someone has to say, take what you want, I'll take what's left. Will it be you? And if you're facing a choice that looks like Eden, lush, promising, full of potential, this passage says, look closer. Check the neighbors. Consider the trajectory. The well-watered valley might water wickedness too. Abram came up from Egypt very rich. The land couldn't support them both, so strife broke out. And in the resolution, two futures diverged. One pitched his tent toward Sodom. One built an altar to the Lord. Same blessing, different hearts. Choose carefully. Hey, if you've got teens or young adults in your life, or if you are one, I want to tell you about another podcast I've been working on called the Salt and Light Lab. It's for the next generation of believers trying to figure out what it looks like to follow Jesus in a world that doesn't make it easy. We dig into Scripture, name the real tensions of faith and culture, and run practical experiments on faithful living. Topics like social media, doubt, money, how to talk to your parents when you're on opposite sides politically, the stuff people are actually wrestling with. You can find it wherever you're listening to this podcast. Check it out, the Salt and Light Lab podcast. And if it resonates, share it with someone who needs it. Thanks for eating with me. Until next time, may the Word dwell in you richly.